Say your work environment is under some stress, maybe new initiatives, maybe you got some turnover going on, maybe they even have new bosses. And you start to see some micromanagement behaviors come in, and leaders micromanage even more when their team's under stress because of the instability that it's creating, that there's some uncertainty. So if I just take over control a little bit more, then I'm de-risking the situation. And we certainly go through that in some other videos out here. But it's not so much about control. It's more about uncertainty. It's more about trusting what has to get done, and they know if they do it and they do it themselves, they'll get done right. But that's not always the case when you have a well-oiled team, when you have a high-performing team and that leader is still micromanaging. So I want to go through a few patterns of stress that's going on right now, because that stress is going to cause them to over-control, micromanage the situation. The stress is going to cause them to have their team to have less ownership of the task, because again, they want to hold it tight. They want that sense of control for the certainty of it getting done and done the way that they want to do it. And so they're increasing their stress, which is feeding this cycle over and over again of micromanagement. So I want to go through the different type of trust factors that go into how you can begin delegating out, again, letting go of some of that ownership when your boss is over micromanaging, specifically in stress. And really what that comes down to is trust. So trust you can build up for good communication, for a well-oiled team, for pass-offs between departments where maybe you guys don't have the same objectives. Trust is important. But trust is just as important in stress, because the person delegating out needs high trust so that their nervous system can let it go. The reason why leaders micromanage in stress is because they don't feel comfortable or trustworthy to let it go. Their nervous system is saying, hold it tight, take control, then you know it's done right. So really, the underneath pattern of letting go of the control, shifting that micromanagement, is the trust flow underneath it with the team. And when you understand the disc work styles in your team, you can meet them where they're at or trust in what you're delegating out based on these trust factors. So let's go through the trust factors in play so you can meet people where they're at, pass on that ownership, and move away a little bit more from that delegation and micromanaging that you're doing into leaning into your team during stress versus taking everything on your plate. D is our dominance. These are our reds. They gain trust with efficiency, with autonomy, with confidence in their abilities to do so. So when you have a leader that is micromanaging and they're holding on control and you want to address these underlying trust patterns, if they are a D dominance, these are the things that they need to begin letting go. They just want to see efficiency. They want to not have these tight parameters. They want more of the autonomy. And then they want to lean into the strengths that they do have. I, our influence, these are our yellows, and they're looking for recognition. They're looking for connection, and they're looking for open dialogue. So if your leader is a high I, these yellows, they want to talk about it. They want to have a voice in the room. They want to kind of collaborate over the stress, the changes, the elephant in the room. What is going on? And that's going to gain some trust so that they can begin to let go. S is our supportives, and there are greens. To gain trust, they want predictability. They're looking for that stability. They want to be supportive, but in a way that is fixing the gaps, in a way that can be repetitive, in a way that's dependable. So S's actually have probably one of the hardest delegations out, passing that ownership onto their team, because the moment you do that, it is unpredictable. The moment that you do it, it could become more unstable. And same with C's. Those are our compliance, our blues. They're looking for clarity. They're looking for accuracy, and they want to go through the thought process and have space to do that. And it should be respected. And so you can already see where micromanagement can escalate pretty fast in stress from leader to team, and team to leader because of the trust patterns going on underneath. Our D dominance, reds, and our I influence, yellows, they are struggling to get things done because now you had to delegate out, now you had to pass it on. And our S and our C's, our supportive and our compliance, greens and blues, they are struggling with stability, struggling with clarity. What's going to be the next step? So you can already see where you can begin to gain trust, pass on that ownership, move away from micromanaging if you feed the needs of this building trust. Are there clunky things that could be more efficient? Are there areas where people could have more autonomy, that we don't need such a rigid 1-step, 2-step, 3-step? Is there a place and a time for people to start to voice their opinions, working through it, having more open dialogue? Where can you gain predictability? Where do people actually need support? Are people doing what they say, saying what they do in the time frame they said they were going to do it? Dependency. And then for C, supporting them, is it clear? Is it accurate? Are we actually working through the thought process to make sure that we're de-risking the situation and providing a high-quality product or process? So when you start to meet people where they're at, not only you as the leader, your needs to build trust, but also your team member you're going to be delegating out to, what are their needs? This is how you build up that pattern of trust so that you can begin to pass ownership, so you don't have to micromanage the situation. And then you start to break the pattern of micromanaging, of feeding your own stress, feeding your own plate, and you get back to using and utilizing the team that you're with, their strengths, and stepping back into leadership mode, because no one likes a micromanager as a leader. Then you might as well just be another worker on the team. The leader is there to influence the path and decisions that they're making, to reduce the hurdles in the way. And so when you can build up this underlying pattern of trust that is feeding some of the micromanagement, when teams are under stress, you start to shift to patterns, because now the pattern isn't stress, control, less ownership to the team, more stress for the leader. It is stress. What can I control? Where can I lean into the trust factors? More ownership to the team. Balanced stress for everyone. And the more repeatable you can get in driving those patterns and the underneath behavior patterns going on, the more you can feed the energy versus drain it. Because stress has been here. Stress will always be. It's our response to it, the patterns driving underneath, that matter.